So in this session, we are going to discuss on process 4.4, manage project knowledge. So 4.4, the first four, the before the decimal signifies it belongs to the project integration management knowledge area, and the second four after the decimal signifies it is a fourth process under the project integration management knowledge area. So in sequence. So this is the second process under executing process group. So 2 of 10, and out of 10 processes under process executing process group, this is the second process. And among the 7 processes under project integration management knowledge area, this is the fourth one. Manage project knowledge. So manage project knowledge is a process where we use the existing knowledge and create new knowledge to achieve project objectives and contribute for organizational learning. So here two activities: we use the existing knowledge, and second one is we also create the new knowledge while executing the project, so that will contribute for the or which are all aligned towards or directed towards achieving the project objectives and also contribute for the organizational learning. The benefits of this process are cyclical. That means we leverage the available organizational knowledge to produce or improve the project outcome and create knowledge which can support future projects. So cyclical means we take the input from the existing knowledge source, use it in the current project so that project becomes more successful. Then through this activity of project execution, we create new knowledge which again fed back into the organizational knowledge base, which can be leveraged for future project success. So it's a cyclical. And this process is performed throughout the project. So it is not one time activity or one time process which keeps. So we need to keep doing this process regularly and frequently during the project life cycle. So when we talk about managing the project knowledge, the knowledge can be both tacit and explicit. Tacit knowledge is basically non-tangible, which lies with the team or some of the cultural aspects, some of the non-expressionable knowledge, some of the skills, uh, some of the traits of the team, and some of the scenarios, events. So all this becomes part of the tacit knowledge, and also the explicit knowledge, which can be documented or codified, which are all more tangible. You can write an article, you can write a blog, you can create a case study, you can create a video, you can have a simulation, so on and so forth. So these are all explicit knowledge. So the managing project knowledge includes both tacit, which is a non-tangible, and also explicit, which is a documented knowledge. So for an efficient knowledge management project, members and stakeholders should be motivated to share their knowledge, skills, experience, and expertise. So if you want to manage the project knowledge, the key contributor for this knowledge is the team members and the stakeholders. That means people. So unless we motivate them, we can achieve little to manage the project knowledge. So it becomes essential for us to look into the human aspects of managing the knowledge of the project, so that the members and the stakeholders share their knowledge, skills, experience, and expertise, and especially without dilution. It is essential to create an atmosphere of trust to enable knowledge sharing and management. So to ensure the involvement of people, we should create an ecosystem of trust in the within the project and also other stakeholders. So this is the key for success of a project knowledge management. So this is a brief introduction, intro into the process. So let's move on with the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs. So the inputs for this process 4.4 manage project knowledge are: the first one is project management plan. I'm sure by this time you will be conversant with project management plan. If not, please refer to the process 4.2 where the output is the project management plan. So the project management plan, which has been um, prepared as an output during process 4.2, becomes an input for this process. The second input is project documents. Again, just to reiterate, we have created a lot of other associated project documents as part of the output of various processes which need to be considered as an input for this process. Some of the documents are lessons learned register, project team assignments, resource breakdown structure, and stakeholder register. So lessons learned register is basically an output of process 4.4 where we capture all the lessons learned during the project activities. Project team assignment is an output of process 9.3. So where project team assignments where the project team assignments information available with respect to competencies and the experience available within the project and any required knowledge to be brought in into the project team. The third document which we need to consider as an input is resource breakdown structure. So which we are going to discuss in process 9.2. So in fact, the resource breakdown structure is an output of process 9.2. So which includes information on the composition of the team and which can also help us to understand what is the knowledge available within the group and what knowledge is missing. So which we can also define it as competency mapping. So RBS will have that is resource breakdown structure. RBS will have those information which need to be considered as an input for this integration management process. Then stakeholder register, which is an output of process 13.1, where we'll have all the details about the stakeholders and understand what kind of or what level of knowledge they might have which can contribute for the project objectives. The next input we need to consider is deliverables. So any all the deliverables which has been produced um, to be considered while managing the project knowledge. The next set of inputs for this process are enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. Enterprise environmental factors typically which influences the managed project knowledge process includes predominantly the following: organizational, stakeholder and customer culture, geographic distribution of facilities and resources, organizational knowledge experts, and legal and regulatory requirements and constraints. So we need to consider these factors as an input while managing the project knowledge. So organizational culture, stakeholder culture, and customer culture should be kept in mind while managing the knowledge, because the relationship among different stakeholders play an important role in capturing the knowledge. So as we have seen, we have the tacit knowledge which cannot be documented. So then it becomes very essential to understand the culture of the team and other stakeholders so that we are successful in managing the project knowledge. And also the value placed on learning and social behavioral norms also plays an important role in managing the knowledge. And many companies, many organizations, many customers insist for a specific uh, format or the procedure and the extent of knowledge to be managed. So it depends on the geographical spread, it depends on the work culture, it depends on the criticality of the project, and so on, so forth. So, for example, a Japanese company might insist on each and everything to be recorded as a knowledge. A German company might focus more on implementation part. Our US culture might call for change in the organizational structure itself. So, like many things will have an impact on the process of managing the project knowledge. The next one, geographic distribution of facilities and resources. So, while managing each geography might have a different facilities and infrastructure, so that should be considered. To give an example, the organization might have a common portal where all the knowledge sharing happens, both acquisition of new knowledge and also usage of the existing knowledge. But some of the geographies might not have infrastructure to support them, or some of the on-site people who are working on the customer location may not have that access. Then we should consider what kind of facilities and infrastructure available in those places so that we don't compromise on the uh, quality deliverables out of this process. So we had an case where my team, one of the or might be a part of the team was working at customer location where there are a lot of restrictions on data exchange. So then we had to have a system wherein the project team, after end of the week or at least once in 2 days, they had to update their knowledge portal offline when they came back to hotel. So this kind of things we should be considered for managing the data. So geographic distribution of facilities and resources is an essential input for managing the data. Sorry, managing the knowledge. Then organizational knowledge experts. So we know the expert judgment is one of the tool and technique for many of the processes. So we should have a register of all the team and individual who have got a subject matter expertise. Legal and regulatory requirements and or constraints. So we should be very much aware of the legal legal aspects, regulatory requirements, and other constraints. Like if you are working in a ODC, uh, offshore development center, especially for many of the aerospace and defense companies. So we have to ensure the data does not, or the knowledge does not go out of the premises, both it should be both physically and logically isolated. So we should consider this aspect while defining the managing of project knowledge. So the next set of inputs are organizational process assets. So again, we should give attention to some of the inputs like organizational standard policies, process and procedure, which is common for all the processes. We should give attention to personal administration. We should consider the employee development and training records and competency frameworks, knowledge sharing behavior, and so on and so forth before we start executing this process manage project knowledge. Organizational communication requirements. So what kind of communication requirements are required, whether it is formal or informal, whether it has to be shared with all with whom, then how to integrate the knowledge across diverse stakeholder groups. So these are some of the inputs we need to give attention or consider for managing the knowledge within the project. Then formal knowledge sharing and information sharing procedures. So sometimes organization will have its own procedures defined at enterprise level, how the knowledge should be shared. So we had a practice where every project, once it is completed before the closure, we should submit a case study and which needs to be approved by the knowledge management team. Uh, unless it is done, so the project uh, was considered as incomplete. So we should also consider this as an input for managing the project knowledge. So let's see what are the tools and techniques um, prescribed for executing this process 4.4 manage project knowledge. There are four techniques recommended. The first one is expert judgment, second one is knowledge management, third one is information management, and fourth one interpersonal team skills. So the first one is expert judgment. So we know what is expert judgment, where we leverage the experts or expertise either in the form of individual or a group who has the specialized knowledge. So while considering those expertise, we should ensure the expertise has the right expertise in the following topics like knowledge management, information management, organizational learning, knowledge and information management tools, and relevant information from other projects. So next tool and technique for the process manage project knowledge is knowledge management. Knowledge management is a very effective skill a project manager should have to ensure we leverage the existing knowledge and create new knowledge during project execution, which can be both the tacit knowledge and the uh, explicit knowledge. As we have said earlier, the knowledge management can be done effectively only when the team members and the stakeholders uh, work together or share their knowledge. And if you are able to connect with the people effectively, then you can manage the knowledge. We also know this the team members when they are executing the uh, tasks or the activities of the project. So they get a lot of insight into the project activities. Typically, that is a knowledge or tacit knowledge generated, and unless we make them to share that with others, then our knowledge management will be very weak. So, some of the skills which we need to have with respect to knowledge management are networking, like having a lot of informal social interaction with the members and the stakeholders, online social networking, so sharing a lot of insights through social networking, social media, professional media, online forums where I remember for each project we used to create a knowledge forum where the members used to share their achievements and their learnings, which became a part of an input for and also effective knowledge management practice. It is also a kind of proudness for a team member to share his achievement or his learning. So we are creating those opportunities through networking. This skill is one of the tool which we need to leverage to collect the information or collect the knowledge from the team members. And in some cases, I remember during networking, we used to um, post the issues or the challenges or the problem statements, and there would be incentives for someone to give us a reference of the previous project or who can provide as a solution. So that is also one of the skill which helped us to get the solution for the existing problems, which in turn contributed for knowledge management. Then we can also have communities of practice. We have like many companies will have for the specific vertical or for the specific service, they'll have communities of practice who regularly meet and share their insights. Meetings, including virtual meetings where participants can interact using communication technology. So, meetings is one more technique where you ensure there is a knowledge sharing happening among different team members. Work shadowing and reverse shadowing. So, you can work shadowing is you can assign someone, a new member or a fresh member, into the team and who will be working with one more expertise, and he keeps learning whatever has been done by the expertise. So it is more of like mentoring kind of thing. Reverse shadowing is you reverse the roles or ask the uh, people to do a job and which is supervised by the subject matter expert. Discussion forums like focus groups is one more knowledge management technique or the skill where you have a discussion forum similar to your communities of practice where people keep on communicating to each other and getting help from others. Knowledge sharing events such as seminars and conferences, which is well known practice in today's scenario, where you have annual events or monthly events where the knowledge is shared among different project members. Workshops including problem solving sessions and learning reviews designed to identify lessons learned. So workshop is also one more a technique which can be leveraged for managing the knowledge. Storytelling, very effective. Creativity and ideas management techniques. You will have a lot of incentives for giving new ideas, creating new ways of doing things. Knowledge fairs and cafes. So knowledge cafes is also becoming very prevalent today, where a specific group will share about their learning or the knowledge with others. Knowledge fairs and cafes, and training which involves interaction between learners. So training is also a very effective tool for managing the knowledge. So these tools and techniques can be applied either face to face or virtual media, or which can be combination of both. So basically face to face interaction will be more effective. As we know, knowledge management is based on the human factor, and where we need to create a ecosystem of trust, so which will leave people be more open and they can share effectively. From the presentation perspective, might be online could be a better platform, but again depends on the project type and the complexity of the project and the kind of knowledge which has been created or which is required to be used during the project. Next tool and technique is information management. So as we know, knowledge is basically information, and managing this information is essential for an effective knowledge management in the project. So information management is effective for sharing simple, unambiguous, codified, explicit knowledge. So the knowledge or the information which is shared should be always simple. It should be unambiguous, and it should be basically rightly codified. So this some of the aspects of this information management includes how the methodology of codifying the explicit knowledge. For example, what is the format in which you are produce the lessons learned. It could be through a blog, it could be an article, it could be a video, it could be a presentation, it could be a case study, and so on and so forth. So how we are going to do that codification of explicit knowledge. The lessons learned register. So you have to ensure there is a register available which captures all the explicit knowledge captured or generated. Library services, where you have the easy access for the existing information through library services, and also log of how many people have used, whether it has been useful, rating, and so on and so forth. Information gathering, example web searches and reading published articles. This can be leveraged for effective project knowledge management. Project management information system, which I had seen earlier in 4.3, same tool and technique can be leveraged for managing the knowledge also. As we have said, tools and techniques that connect people to information can be enhanced by adding an element of interaction. Example like contact me function. So users can get in touch with the originators of the lessons learned and ask for advice, further advice specific to their projected context. So people element is also an important aspect here in information management tool. The last but most important tool and technique for managing the knowledge is interpersonal and team skills. So we had been saying since beginning of this process, people factor is very key for knowledge management in a project. The reason is knowledge is used by project team, by people, knowledge is generated by people, insights are realized by people, so they have to share the knowledge. Some of the interpersonal team skills required or which can be leveraged for managing the project knowledge are active listening, facilitation, leadership, networking, and political awareness. Active listening, so which again will be described in 10.2, where the skill helps to reduce misunderstanding and improve communication and knowledge sharing. Facilitation, which we have seen in 4.1, which helps us to guide a group to a successful decision, solution, or conclusion. So you calm the model. Leadership is very much important, which is used to communicate the vision and inspire the project team to focus on the appropriate knowledge and knowledge objectives. Networking, which we have already seen, which allows informal interactions and connections among different project stakeholders and creates the condition for sharing of tacit and explicit knowledge. And political awareness is very much important, which helps the project manager to plan communication based on the project environment and also the organizational political environment. We move on to the outputs of this process manage project knowledge. So there are three outputs from this process: lessons and register, project management plan updates, organization process assets updates. Lessons learned registered, which we had seen, which includes the category and description of the situation or the event. The lessons learned register will include also the impact, the recommendations, and proposed actions associated with the situations. It records the challenges, problems, realized risks, and opportunities, and other contents as applicable. The lessons learned register is created as an output of this process very early in the project. That means this being an output of a process in the beginning of the project, so this becomes an input for many of the other processes in the due course of project life cycle. So we should be thorough in doing this job and collecting sufficient information. And this lessons and register should be updated regularly throughout the project. So there should be a dedicated team to be involved to capture the lessons learned. And this knowledge which can be documented or collected can be in different forms like videos, pictures, audios, and other suitable means to ensure the efficiency of the lessons captured. And I remember in many of the organizations where I have seen or I have worked in last 2 decades, many of the companies, successful companies, have their specific team who will solely or exclusively work on knowledge management. So their job is only to just collect all the knowledge generated during different project activities of the organization, and they make it a formal like library services wherein anyone can have an access to the required information with due approvals and reviews. And if you ask in today's scenario, most of the organization assets are knowledge, what they have generated over a period of time. So when organizations are either sold or merged with big conglomerates, one of the deciding factor is the knowledge generated within that organization during their growth period. And in IT companies, for sure, companies are bought only because of the knowledge what they have generated. It is also applicable for service industries. A service industry, the uniqueness is it is not duplicatable. The best practices, the skills, insights, customer insights, scenarios, risks. All these aspects are tacit knowledge, which has which is a backbone of a service industry. So managing and capturing all those lessons learned is very essential. So this register becomes very helpful and becomes a right repository of all the knowledge created within the organization of the project. Second one is project management plan updates. We have seen, so project management plan is a blueprint. So we need to keep updating this as and when required to ensure we are meeting the project objectives. The third output is organization process asset updates, which is again a scheduled activity for at the end of many of the processes under project management. So as all projects get new knowledge, some of this knowledge is codified, embedded in deliverables, or embedded in improvements to processes and procedures. So existing knowledge can also be codified or embedded for the first time as a result of this process. Example, if an existing idea for a new procedure is piloted in the project and found to be successful, then we are going to make that process updates in the relevant assets of the organization. So we need to update these three documents as an output for output of the process managed project knowledge. So this concludes the input, output, and tools and techniques of the process managed project knowledge. In the next slide, we get a overview of the inputs, tools and techniques, and output of this process.